Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can enable and disable everyone except external users and everyone groups within SharePoint site. So what are those groups? I'll give you a bit context about each of those groups and how we can use both, right? And why we should use and why we should not use, right? So the first group, which is allow everyone except external users, this is a dynamic group which is created by Microsoft 365. When we create 365 tenant and when we have appropriate Azure AD or Enter ID license in our tenant, it automatically creates that group for the SharePoint service, right? Or for the SharePoint sites altogether within the tenant, right? And the purpose of this group is to provide access to all the users across the organization, and it is only allowing or only adding the users of the tenant. So the people who are part of the tenant and they have appropriate license of 365 and SharePoint and all other components within the 365 environment, those would be part of that particular group, right? Why? Because as soon as we provide the license, it gets the added to that group automatically, and once that group is assigned to a specific SharePoint site, they get access to that SharePoint site and then they can access it, right? So this group contains only internal users and not the outside organization users. So outside organization users could be external users, guest users, right? So those are the outside organization users and those are not part of our tenant, right? And that is why those are not being added to this group, right? So let's jump on to the second group, which is everyone. Group name is everyone, right? And this group has everyone including internal users, external users and guest users part of that. And external user means those users which are invited to the tenant as a guest. They have accepted the invitation, and once they have accepted, they become a guest user account of our tenant, right? And once they become a tenant user as a guest user, then they would be added to the everyone group. And once they are added, then as soon as we assign this everyone group to any of the SharePoint site or any specific group where we are putting some content or data, and that data and content is going to be visible and accessible to those external people, right? So now there are different risks on both sides, on both the groups. So whether we should use everyone except external users or everyone group, right? So definitely there is a risk on both side, and that risk is about, if we use everyone group, then external users would have access to all the data wherever they are member of or wherever that group is specifically assigned as member permissions, right? So if I have a site and I assign a particular assign everyone group to that site, then they would get access to it and they can access the content on it. But if I only use everyone except external users group, then it is going to only let internal people access the data and documents and everything from the SharePoint, but not the outside organization users. So I'm going to show you how we can enable that and disable that for the SharePoint site. So before that, let's jump into the SharePoint and I'll show you. So currently I have this SharePoint site, and then go to site permissions, then advanced. So from here, we can see I can add group from here directly, everyone, right? I have this group eligible or visible. That means this is enabled group for me, but I can disable this as well. So, right? And the other another option is, which is from here. Let's go one step back. So let it load while. Then click on SharePoint sites, and from here I can add it as well. Oh, it has popped up here. You can see this group is added, so I can remove from here as well also, if I don't want it to provide, or else I can add everyone that group, and I would be able to add it. And then this way I can share the complete SharePoint site with the appropriate permissions, whether read, full control, or edit permissions, so that people would get access to this SharePoint site, right? So this way I can decide whether I wanted to provide access to this group or only everyone group. So currently everyone group is not available because that is not enabled. So I'm going to enable that one, as well as also I'm going to disable this group so that next time when we search it here, it will not show up, right? So let's jump on to the sandbox here, and I'll simply open PowerShell, and then I will run a command to connect it to SharePoint first, and then we can start. So let's jump on here. So let me enter this command to connect it. So probably I'll need to install this PowerShell module, and then let me pick up the command if I have that with me here. Okay, okay, let me do one thing quickly. I'll simply pick up that command from here. That is easy, right? And then I will simply so let's run this command so that it is going to install this module first, and once that is done we can start, right? So I'm going to show you from scratch so that you know what is needed, what is not needed, right? And yep, once we have that installed, we should be good to go. So let's, it is going to take, oh, seems that is completed. Now it is checking if this is protected, and as this is a sandbox environment, that is why this doesn't have the, or this does not store the existing sessions. So it vanishes all the connections as soon as disconnected from the device. So all right, that once that is completed, meantime I'll simply go back here and I will prepare a command line. So this is going to be the first command which I'm going to run, and once that is executed, that is going to be the one where I would be authenticating my SharePoint, right? And once authenticated, then I can start the enabling and disabling. So that is just a two-way. Perfect, that's completed. Now let me connect it. So now let's go and hit enter, and now it's going to prompt for credentials. So now once I enter the credentials, it is going to simply authenticate myself as an administrator on the SharePoint site. Perfect. Perfect. This is connected. Now I'll show you uh, how it is enabled. So first I'm going to run this commandlet where it show everyone except external users claims attribute, which is set to true. And similarly, I will also show you the everyone group only first, so that we know what we are trying to do here. So true means this is enabled, and if you see the false, that means this group is not enabled at all. All right. So what we need to do is we need to do false for this group and true for this group, right? So I'll show you both sides, and we will also go to SharePoint site and do the enable as well as disabling. So now first we'll set it to false on everyone except external users. Perfect, that's done. And I will set for this one. So currently it was false. I'll simply set it to true. And yeah, perfect. So now let's run this command again. Do you see it was false? Now it is true. And also I will run this command where we had already set it to. Now it should be false. All right, so here it is. So now we can go ahead back to the SharePoint site and see that in action here. So now let's go ahead, and I will, before that I will refresh this page so that we know what we are trying to do. And let's go ahead and go to site permissions and see it here. So it is showing up here, but if I try to add it here, we will not see it. It is still showing up because it is not yet fully synchronized. So let me do one thing. Let me remove it to fasten the speed quickly. Also, I'll go to advanced permissions so that we can check it from here as well. So now let's go to grant permissions and type everyone here. See, you see the everyone group, but not everyone except external users, right? Because we have disabled that and we have enabled everyone group only. So this way we can provide the permissions, or we can share the complete SharePoint site access to the respective users across the organizations, which includes specifically everyone group includes internal and external guest users as well. So definitely there is something we need to think, and we should discuss that internally whether we wanted to provide access to everyone across, right? And this is only been useful in case when people are trying to access, or we should provide access to external users on a particular SharePoint site where the data that needs to be accessed by external people, right? And not the not only internal users. But when we wanted to provide access to only internal users, then we should provide access to everyone, uh, everyone except external users group. So currently we have disabled that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here on the SharePoint site, and then I will show you how we can add everyone group first, and then we'll enable the everyone except external users group. So let's jump on here and let me type everyone users. See here, this is the one, and we can set the permissions and then add it. So this way we can add. Now we have added everyone group. Also, let me try everyone except. So it was showing up here still. Let me see if it is been adding, or See, currently we are getting this error because it says couldn't resolve user this one because we have disabled this, but here it was showing because this was still in cached and is not moved out of this cached, right? So this should automatically be moving out of this site after few minutes, and once that is moved out of, then it should not be showing up here for us to provide permissions or add. If even we try to add, it is not going to showcase. See, you can see it here, but let's try it. Perfect. So this is what they expected is upon disabling this group, right? And these are the two groups which are automatically been created in the SharePoint when we provision or when we have 365 enter ID across the organization. It creates those group automatically, right? So yeah, that is all. And if you have any questions, any concerns, or anything you wanted to know, and you can put them in the comment section below. And hope you will like this video. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, thanks for watching.